Komisi Eropa mengungkapkan kekhawatirannya terhadap kebijakan hukuman mati Israel yang ditujukan kepada warga Palestina. Kebijakan ini dianggap sebagai langkah mundur yang sangat berbahaya, terutama dengan karakter diskriminatifnya. Meskipun demikian, Komisi Eropa belum menjelaskan tindakan konkret yang akan diambil oleh Kaja Kallas, pejabat tinggi kebijakan luar negeri Uni Eropa, dalam menanggapi kebijakan ini, meskipun dialog terus dilakukan dengan pihak Israel.
Good afternoon. The death penalty bill in Israel is very concerning to us in the EU. This is a clear step backwards, the introduction of the death penalty, together with the discriminatory nature of the law. We will also note that several voices have been raised in Israel after the adoption of the law, and also noting that there is an appeal to the Supreme Court. Now, this is a clear negative trend in terms of Israel's obligation vis-à-vis respect of human rights.
I have a follow-up.
My mic is off. Mic on, lads. Thanks.
But what I'm actually asking is, will, for example, the President or the Foreign, Madam Kallas, take concrete action? Because does the EU actually fear that if it does not take concrete action at this stage, does it fear that its image, as an institution that upholds human rights and democratic principles may erode?
Thank you for the question. I think that we have been vocal, and this from the start, following the approval of the bill by the Security Committee in the Knesset. So we have been expressing our position loud and clear in line with our principles and our values as European Union. We, as EU, we are opposing capital punishment in all cases and under all circumstances, and we have said that from the start in terms of the law before even its adoption in Israel. Why? Because the death penalty is a violation of the right to life, and this is a core value to the EU. Let's also recall that Israel has long upheld a de facto moratorium on both executions and capital punishment sentencing, thereby leading by example in the region, despite a complex security environment. That being said, the approval of this law is a grave step backward from this important practice and from position that Israel has itself expressed in the past. We, as EU, our position is clear. To call on Israel to abide by its previous principled position, its obligation under international law, and its commitment to democratic principles. In terms of our action, we have been engaging with Israel, both at HQ level and at the level of our EU delegation in Israel, with outreach on the ground, including with the authorities, the Knesset, and the civil society, because dialogue is part of diplomacy. And in terms of the HRVP, she has regular contacts with her interlocutors as part of established channels of communication in terms of diplomatic engagement with her Israeli interlocutor.
Thank you very much, Melika Pala from Anadolu. My question is about the occupied West Bank. So there has been a noticeable increase in the violence by Israeli illegal settlers in the West Bank, which continues to threaten the fundamental rights of Palestinians. And additionally, last week, Israeli authorities prevented the Patriarch from entering East Jerusalem, occupied East Jerusalem, during the Christian Holy Week. First of all, I want to ask you the European Commission current position on these developments. And if I may, my second question is going to be about the sanctions targeting Israeli settlers. It's also on the table for a while, we understand that, but so far EU didn't take any concentrated steps in response to sanctions against these settlers. So when considering the current situation, the EU is considering any concentrated steps in response of this violence? If yes, what are the things are under consideration? Thank you very much.
Thank you. On this, we have been having a long-standing position, quite clear, and I'm happy here to reiterate it. And it's a position that has been taken at the highest level, at the level of our leaders at the European Council. We strongly condemn Israel's unilateral actions aiming to expand its presence in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, which the International Court of Justice advisory opinion of the 19th of July 2024 declared to be unlawful. And we urge the government of Israel to reverse these decisions, to abide by its obligation under international law, and to protect the Palestinian population of the occupied territories. We'll also recall that settlements are illegal under international law. Now, in terms of the settler violence, we have strongly condemned, and will continue to do so, the growing settler violence against Palestinian civilians, including violence against Christian communities, and we reiterate our call, again, in terms of the work forward on further restrictive measures against extremist settlers and entities, together with organizations that are supporting them. And this is a call that the High Rep herself has echoed again at the last Foreign Affairs Council, because, as you know, for sanctions, unanimity is the rule, and we have 26 member states that have been in favor of the adoption of further sanctions against extremist settlers, but we need to have 27 out of 27. On the second angle of your question, because I think that you touched on the holy sites, our position is clear. We call for full preservation and full respect of the status quo of Jerusalem's holy site, as again amplified by the High Representative over the weekend in her post.
Yeah, it's about the recent Slovak double pricing of fuels. I was wondering if there's been any follow-up. So, I mean, the double pricing, higher pricing for foreigners or non-Slovaks is obviously illegal against EU law. But, I mean, when would there be any action from the point of view of the Commission? I suppose it's a level of a formal letter of notice, right? But how long does the procedure take? Thanks.
Thanks, Stafford. I think I more or less got the gist of your question about the fuel prices. And indeed, we have taken note that the Slovak government has adopted a measure that imposed a 30-day fuel price cap on diesel refueling in Slovakia that has introduced differentiated diesel pricing for domestic and foreign vehicles. Of course, with higher prices for vehicles that have foreign registration plates. And we consider this measure highly discriminatory and against EU law. And of course, we understand the need to support citizens at this time, but measures should not discriminate based on nationality, nor should they, of course, undermine the integrity of the internal market. So the Commission will take appropriate legal action to ensure compliance when we see evidence of citizens being discriminated against, as would appear to be the case here. And this is why we did send a letter to Slovakian authorities last week asking for a reply. And member states, I just want to emphasize that member states can take measures to support their citizens, but these should not be discriminatory.
Anwar, to come back, I want to ask about the UNIFIL soldiers killed in Lebanon. Does the EU have any comment on UNIFIL peacekeepers being killed in Lebanon? And there were also reports that the French contingent of UNIFIL was targeted actually 3 times by the Israeli army during the weekend. What is your reaction as Israeli attacks continue on Lebanon? Thank you.
Thanks for coming back, Anwar. Go ahead.
Thank you for the question. We as European Union condemn the attacks that have resulted in the death of UNIFIL peacekeepers and in others being injured. We also condemn the attacks that have targeted the French contingent in the last few days. We extend our condolences to the families of the victims, and we wish prompt recovery to those injured. We call for a thorough investigation to shed light on these grave attacks. These attacks are a grave violation of international law, are totally unacceptable, and must stop immediately. We as EU reiterate our unwavering support to UNIFIL, which is a fundamental force for the stabilization of Lebanon.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.